welcome to Facebook Live. We're a little early today. We usually shoot for about 1:30, but we're shooting a little bit early today due to some scheduling conflicts. Today we're talking about the most common ankle and foot injuries. Obviously a lot of things can happen in the ankle and the foot, but we're going to try to touch on a few of the most common. The first one that most people think about is an ankle sprain. So here I've got the long bones of the leg, obviously coming down into the ankle and the foot. In an ankle sprain, this is a left foot, in an ankle sprain, what typically happens is maybe you step off a curb or you step funny, but you roll the ankle. When you roll the ankle to the side, if you can kind of picture, you have three ligaments that come off of this bone that attach down just like this where my three fingers are. And you can tear or overstretch these three ligaments. You also have a group of muscles that attaches along this bone, comes down underneath through here, kind of like a tunnel, wraps underneath these ligaments, you can see where my finger's coming through, and then comes around, and some of them attach under the bottom of the foot, some of them attach over here. So in addition to the ligament damage, you can actually damage these muscles as they come down and through this tunnel, as they try to control that ankle and stop that ankle from rolling to the side. The most important thing with this is we do grade ankle sprains depending on how many ligaments you have involved and how severe the tearing is. Some ankle sprains you can continue walking on, some you need to be able to allow those tissues to heal. So if you do sprain an ankle, it's important to get it evaluated, because even though you can walk on it, doesn't mean you always should, because you compromise a lot of other structures in the area. If you do damage these tissues, whether it's muscle or these ligaments, again, it depends on the severity and how many ligaments, how many muscles, that kind of thing are involved. But we do have some great techniques that can help speed up recovery. So active release technique is a technique you've heard us talk about quite a bit. A lot of times we'll use that even on sidelines with soccer players or football players and get in there and be able to treat right away same day. Sometimes that's not feasible, but if we can get in there and treat and help calm down those tissues, we can speed up the tissue recovery. Other things that can happen in an ankle sprain also include this bone here. When the ankle rolls, this is screwed together, but you can kind of picture when this rolls, the top of this bone can get rammed into the side of this bone or the underneath side of this bone. When that happens, there's cartilage on top of this that you can actually fracture or you can bruise. You can also break or chip away this portion of the bone. You can chip away this portion of the bone. Or as that happens, it drives these two bones apart. And as these pull apart, think of it kind of like a fulcrum or like a hinge, you can actually fracture up here in the top of the leg. So again, a simple ankle sprain can also involve fractures all the way up toward the knee, all the way down here into the ankle, and sometimes you can actually bear weight while you have those fractured. So it's important to get it evaluated. Sometimes we say, hey, let it rest, it just needs time. Depends on the severity, the structures involved, but sometimes you do need further care. Also important to rehab them, because if you don't rehab and strengthen the proper structures, you're at risk for continually rolling that ankle time in, time out. Those are people that often say, every time I step off a curb, I roll an ankle, or I roll them all the time. We need to make sure that we rehab those so that doesn't continue happening. Other common injuries that we have in the ankle and the foot would be an Achilles tendonitis. You have the calf musculature that comes down through here, attaches into this heel a little bit, and then actually wraps underneath the foot. And when we're doing lots of push-off motions, maybe we're running, jumping, that kind of thing, you're getting a lot of wear and tear into this Achilles. If you have the tendonitis or the inflammation down toward the bottom edge, it's a little bit harder to treat, a little slower to treat. Definitely is going to take some hands-on treatment to get that to calm down. If it's more up toward the muscle belly, sometimes it's something that you can control by yourself. With that, you want to make sure that you're limiting how much forceful pushing you're doing, limiting how much repetition of that pushing you can do so that you can let those tissues heal, and then also try to speed up your healing mechanisms from there. When we take a look into the foot itself, we've got common conditions like a bunion, which is where the big toe kind of curls in this way and this bone actually comes out to the side. You get additional bone growth. We also have what we call a Morton's neuroma, which is where you get typically between the third and the fourth, but you typically get kind of a ring around a nerve that can get compressed, or you can get irritation of these bones where the long heads of the bones are getting squished together. Those three conditions are often treated very, very well with conservative measures. A lot of people consider bunions to be congenital or that they're related to genetics. I strongly disagree with that in a lot of cases. There might be a small proportion, but shoe wear, biomechanics are all going to be much more factors of that. Those are going to be things that come on much more gradually over the course of the time versus the Achilles or the ankle sprain that are going to be a little bit more acute. But I would say those are probably the most common injuries that we see in the foot and the ankle. And we've got a lot of great tools, home tools, different things that we can educate you on to go ahead and treat them. So hopefully this helped you understand the foot and the ankle a little bit better. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.